opponents, the media, and the whole world will soon see as we begin to take further actions that the powers of the president to protect our country are very substantial and will not be questioned.
If you didn't already know, those words were the words of a senior Trump advisor, a guy called Stephen Miller, one of Trump's senior advisors on immigration, got trotted out on the weekend to talk about why the courts were wrong to say that his Muslim ban was not the right thing to do, that it was in fact unconstitutional. It's like, and they keep saying, no, it's not. It's like, no matter how many people tell them that it's a really bad thing to do and it's illegal, they get, no, it's not. And then the people who actually know the law say, yeah, that's unconstitutional. You can't do that. And they may finally wrap their head around the fact that what they need to do is actually structure it differently, because it's really only a technicality that will let them get away with it, because honestly, even if they took it all the way to the Supreme Court, most legal observers are going, no, that will still get ruled unconstitutional. And that would be pretty embarrassing straight out of the gate. Take one of your first actions all the way to the Supreme Court to be told what you're doing is unconstitutional. A lot of people commented that guy Stephen Miller was creepy as hell in physical appearance and the way he said things and the words he used. Like, a lot of people said robotic, and I thought about it for a while and thought, not just robotic, it's this totalitarian crush all resistance type thing. Oh wait, he's a Dalek. And that's why I came up with the idea of doing it as a Dalek. And even as I was thinking, I was going, my God, it's like there are so many things that when I see people, it's not just the Trump administration, but around the world, different politicians and people saying outrageous things, they really are. They're like sociopathic Daleks. So maybe he's just the Dalek of the day. Maybe I'm going to use the Dalek to introduce everything I talk about from now on, because it seems appropriate to so many things. Yeah, and speaking of not listening to legal advice, one of the people who said that I don't think this Muslim ban is legal was the acting Attorney General, who was actual Obama appointee, hadn't been replaced yet because Trump's pick for Attorney General hadn't been confirmed at that point. And she got sacked for speaking up and saying, this doesn't seem legal to me. And another thing she did was warn them about Michael Flynn. It's like Trump's security advisor who's had to go. Like less than a month into the administration, they've had their first topple. And it's because he's with this corrupt bullshit with Russia. It's ridiculous. It's like the biggest problem is that he seems to have way too close ties to Russia. The simplest way to describe it is, of course, there was the implication that Russia was involved in interfering with the American electoral process. Not interfering with votes, but just trying to destabilize everything to Trump's advantage. And as a result of that, Obama did some sanctions on Russia, expelled some diplomats, and Putin never actually responded in much way. It turns out it's because Michael Flynn called him and said, don't worry about it, just ignore it, don't react at all, because we'll take it all back. And, just don't worry about it. And of course, that's borderline treason to do that. And so, of course, publicly, he denied it. And the former Attorney General, Obama's Attorney General, who was acting for a little while for Trump, she apparently specifically warned that this guy was a threat. He was at risk of being blackmailed by Russians. His contacts were too close. He was a security risk. And this was ignored, and lo and behold, he's had to quit because he lied about what he said to the Russians. When he was quizzed publicly, he said, no, I never mentioned the sanctions. Because, like I said, that's kind of treason-y, so you don't want to admit to it. But it's become clear that he did. So he didn't just do it, then he lied about it, and he got caught lying, and so he's had to go. And that's just the first one. Look, no one knows what will happen from here, because basically anyone who thinks they know what's happening with this Trump administration including Trump, is fooling themselves? Look, it could go down one of two obvious ways. First, it's just like, oh well, that's it. He was the only bad one, and we'll just continue as per normal from here. Or he's like the first domino to fall, and it's all gonna come crashing down, because there's no way a whole bunch of them, Trump included, would survive close scrutiny over Russia contacts and a whole bunch of other things. So at the very least, it's not going to be boring. That doesn't mean it's going to be good. It could be awful and horrific with terrible consequences for many, many people, but it isn't going to be boring.